Okay, guys, welcome to lesson 103 of Digital Marketing 3. We have covered quite a lot looking at digital customer experience and how it is enabled or how it is cultivated by digital platforms such as the website, mobile applications, social media platforms, and so on. I'd like someone to give us a brief overview of what we discussed last week. Are you guys now brain dead?
I was going to say, please repeat.
What is it that we're looking at in class last week? Remember, last week we had physical contact. We discussed a lot in room 2, if I remember, and in room 1, as well as in room 7 on Friday. And Karabo, you attended all classes, if I remember very well. So what is it that we're discussing?
Was it not the optimization of websites and stuff like that?
And what are the stuff like that?
Digitization and digitalization, customer experience, digital in-store. Yes.
Okay, Kia. Kia and Lebo, do you remember anything that comes to your mind or that clicks to your mind based on the engagements that we had last week?
So I remember we did prototyping
Mm-hmm.
and agile software development.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. That's correct. Lebo, do you remember something? Or your mind was completely down last week?
Can you hear me, sir?
Pardon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So we started with digital customer experience. That was like our first lesson. And then we dived deep into it, explaining how it works. And we also discussed customer experience, customer journey, buyer journey. And then after that, we moved to websites. And then we were discussing websites, how they work, the URL, the growth hacking. Also, you also showed us an example of websites and the back end of the website, which we didn't know. Actually, which I didn't know. Let me not speak for everyone. And then on Friday we were doing website optimization.
Okay. Correct. That's what I was expecting to hear from you guys. So thank you so much, Lebo. As I mentioned last week, and I've been emphasizing this since the beginning of the semester, I want you guys to study very hard. Don't just come to class unprepared, and at the end of the day, you don't even know what we are discussing. So I'd like you to do some preliminary research, reading around the things that we're going to be covering in class, so that when we are discussing these things, at least we have got some sort of a basic level of what we'll be talking about. So I highly encourage you guys not to just hear about stuff when you're in class. You need to go and read out. You need to visit textbooks. You need to look at current affairs. You have got so many platforms out there that talks about the industry. There's BizCom, for example, there's Media Update. You need to go and have a look at most of the things that you discuss in class. It also helps you with your own content bank, with your knowledge. Because if you only get stuff from me in class and you don't read widely, you are not going to have diverse knowledge or knowledge from diverse perspectives. So I do challenge you guys to always revise. Once you are done with a lesson, you need to have a sort of a devotion time where you can digest on the things that we have learned. So we are going to continue with delivering digital customer experience. And before I dig deeper into digital customer experience, just as a revision, can someone tell us what customer experience is? Don't tell me is the experience that customers have. What is customer experience according to your understanding? Yeah, the second, I see you're in here. Manaiwa.
Sir, can I try?
Yes, you can try, of course.
Customer experience, like it involves like the way a customer interacts with the company in all stages, like including marketing,
Mhm.
sales, quality of the product and the service. Also
Okay.
the product that they purchase and how it works and whether they are satisfied with it or not.
Okay. All right. So we are going to work with what you've just said. So you said is the way customers interact with the business. And with this series that you are looking at, so when you say that it is the way in which customers interact with brands, engage with brands at every point of their buying journey, where do they interact with brands? So where do customers and brands interact?
Digitally.
Digitally where?
On their website,
Mm-hmm.
social media,
Okay,
also in person, sir.
in person. All right.
In the stores, yes.
Okay. So since we are agreeing that customer experience is all about how a brand engages with its customers at every point of their buying journey. So this is why we have been looking at platforms, because this is digital customer experience. So where do they engage? That's why we looked at how websites are developed, because customers do engage with brands on websites. We also had a look at how software, like how applications are developed, because customers do engage with brands on applications. We also looked at social media. So we continue with that because these platforms, the way they are developed, the way content is displayed or produced, the way all the navigation of the site and the availability or reachability or findability of the site will determine the nature of customer experience. So this is why we are looking at softwares, we are looking at websites, we are looking at social media, because these are the platforms, or this is the arena, the digital arena, where customers and brands engage. So with this lesson, you should be able to know the app or site requirements. So what are the requirements for an application? What are the requirements for a site? And why are we discussing sites and app as digital marketers? Since this is normally done by IT people, why are we involved? Why is digital marketing involved in website development, website management?
So
Yes, thank you. So then after thank you, so it's going to be Karab.
it's because our digital marketing team are the managers who have to maintain the website
Okay,
and
to
work
maintain.
with the IT team.
Okay, I've got some queries to
Yes.
maintain. Let's hear Karabo.
I was gonna say, isn't it important for them to work together because, number one, marketers don't know the coding like that,
Mm-hmm.
so they wouldn't be able to gain insights and
Mm-hmm.
understand how things work. Number two, IT would be the people who know how to measure things in terms of telling and or making you aware of what's working and what's not working and what needs to change, so that you can probably come up with a strategy or a different angle to how it works.
Okay, all right. Now I can see that you guys still remember the stuff that we discussed in class. So we have got the requirements here. The first requirement that you need for a site or an app is the discovery or analysis phase. So using different marketing research techniques to find out the needs of the business and audience. So here you need to ask yourself, what is going to be the function of a website or a mobile site or a company social page? So you don't just do it for the sake of doing it, for the sake that your competitors have got a social media account, then you're also going to have a social media account. Or your competitors have got a website and you're also going to have a website. So you need to know how is it going to fulfill the business objectives and the marketing objectives. So is it only going to communicate? Is it going to sell? Is it only going to be a source of information, or it can also be where customers can have products, or the product sites, you are going to hand it over to intermediaries, then you are going to only put information related to the products on your site. So you need to think about all that, and I think you can see many websites out there. Think about the website for Coca-Cola, or the website for Dell, the one that manufactures computers and other electronic devices. You realize that on their website, there's only information, but you cannot buy an actual can for Coca-Cola. You'd go and find that can at Pick and Pay or other intermediaries. So you need to know how the site is going to perform. So this analysis is used to drive design and content. So whatever the purpose of the site that you're going to have as a brand, it will sort of create a foundation of what kind of design and what kind of content is needed there. So from a design perspective, for example, do we need to put in payment plugins if customers are going to get products, are going to have transactions on the website? Do we need to have some e-commerce plugins to put there? If we have got videos or we have got pictures, do we want customers to download them? So whatever that you need to have sort of a requirement for the website, it is going to contribute, or it is going to have an impact on how that website is going to be designed and how the content is going to be laid out. Are there any questions on that? So on the discovery or analysis phase, you need to ask these questions. Who are the key audience for the site or the app? Remember, we did segmentation. Remember, we also did persona, buyer persona. And did you hear Stefan talking about persona? I think he mentioned the word persona more than 10 times on Tuesday. Did you guys get that?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. So on this question, that's where you do your segmentation. You need to know who are your key audience. And you also need to ask you, once you've identified or once you've answered the question for the key audience, why should they use the site or the app? So if these are your key audience, why should they use the site or the app? What should the content of the site or the app be like? How will the content be structured? So how are you going to structure the content? So do you see why the management or the creation of a site also requires digital marketing practitioners instead of just IT people? Because most web developers or IT specialists will look at coding, will look at how to bring in these pieces in together to make things work. But they wouldn't understand the communication side. They wouldn't understand why you are using these colors and not those colors. They wouldn't understand why you are using this font and not that font. So this is where communication is needed. You also need to know how will the navigation occur. Are you going to put the menu buttons? What is it that you are going to put there to help customers navigate on your site effectively? Remember, all this is about customer experience. What are the main marketing outcomes we want the experience to deliver, and which context? So there are so many questions that you can ask yourself when looking at the requirements of an application or a site. It is only based on the context and the kind of a brand or a business that you're looking at. So these are some of the questions, but as I said, there are many questions that can be looked at. Are there any questions on the discussed questions that I've just explained for you guys? So now you've got user-centered design. Remember, most of these things that I'm discussing at the moment, when we are testing them, you then use the process of growth hacking. So growth hacking is going to sort of test whether the content that has been put there is working. It's going to test whether if you want to put, payment gateways, is it working or not? So that process will then involve growth hacking. Now let's look at user-centered design. So user-centered design helps to answer the questions in the discovery or analysis phase. It uses a range of techniques to ensure site meets customer persona. It's always easier when you're dealing with the digital natives, those who understand the digital arena, those who understand the digital community and the digital age. But it's always difficult when you are looking at digital refugees. Do you remember, guys, we discussed at the first days, I think during the first days when we started this lesson, we spoke about the digital natives the digital refugees, and what else, if you can still remember? So we also have the digital immigrants. So most of the senior citizens, like our parents, they use these devices, be it for their career and stuff like that. But when it comes to logging in, when it comes to keeping passwords, sometimes it might be difficult to an extent that it also influence their customer experience. Imagine whenever someone wants to log in, they send in a query saying that I can't remember my password. I can't
Mm.
remember my username, you know. So that's the difference between the characteristics of the digital natives and the digital immigrant or digital refugees. Thank you. So you were saying something. How many times do you have to help your mother or your father or your granny to navigate on the mobile banking app on their phone when they want to make payments? Or how many times do you have to help an elder to get airtime or to load airtime on their smartphones? So all these questions, when you are coming up with an app, be it if you are NetBank, or if you are an insurance, you need to understand how your audience or how the segment that you have selected use the platform that you have developed. So this uses a range of techniques to ensure site meets customer persona. Then, of course, they've got business requirements because at the end of the day, a site, as I emphasized in the class last week, a site or um, an app, it has to make money. So it has to achieve the business objectives. So the common approach will be based on achieving the performance drivers for successful digital marketing and loyal drivers. So the design of any platform must lead to customer acquisition. So it has to get more customers, and not just getting those customers, but as well as customer conversions. So you need to be able to convert site visitors into customers, like to actually make them buy the product that they are buying, be it a subscription, be it a service. You have to be able to convert them into customers. And you also need to make sure that they come back, which is customer retention, so that they become um, repeat repeat buyers. Then, as a result, you can have service quality, and this can lead to branding. So all these activities, customer acquisition, customer conversion, customer retention, service quality, and branding, they highlight some form of customer experience, and they have to fulfill the business objectives of any given brand. Yes, I see a hand up. Lebo. Oh, Lebo, Kia, and Tankiso. Who wants to start?
Okay, I can start.
Okay, Kia, Lebo is saying honor ladies.
Sir, I remember because I'm repeating PR2, right? I remember last
Mhm.
year we had to like do a website for a campaign. So we had to like come up with a business from scratch, and and on that business we had to have a website and stuff. So I remember before we designed the website, we had to do like an ABC plan. So
Okay.
like a step one, like the step one was like the analysis, and like the analysis is like the editorial policy of the website. So
Mhm.
um on the editorial policy, like you were supposed to tell whether the website will include what kind of information about the company's history, its products, the detail, press releases, blah blah blah. And then we had to come up with the profile of the publication. Is the website gonna be like friendly, welcoming, or authoritative, like in terms of like demeanor? And then you had to come up with the address of the website and the design philosophy and stuff. And then on the step 2, we had to come up with the goals, qualitative and quantitative of like our website, what our website is gonna do for our business. And then we had to like create a dummy or mock-up page for the website on the step 3. And then we had to also like give like an example of the website. So we had to create it, and then we had to put the screenshots on the portfolio and stuff. So it was quite, I think they actually have a relationship with what you are talking about right now in terms of like uh how to define the site or the app requirement.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned something very pertinent there, the culture.
Yes.
So how do you also bring the cultural elements of the site? Like how are the cultural elements of your business highlighted on the site, which is
Yes.
also essential. So you guys can actually be able, if you were to have your own personal site, I heard people here saying that they've got a photography business. Thank you, so say that. Yeah, you say that you're an artist. So these are the things that you can also have a look at from a digital marketing point of view. Because if your site does not lead to customer acquisition, you cannot convert any customers from your site. No one is engaging with your site. So why does the site exist? Because there's no customer experience there. Let's hear from Lebo.
So, sir, I wanted to ask you, how much is it like to actually design a website and actually develop it with IT obviously in the picture?
With IT in the picture, I wouldn't know, because most of the stuff can be done in-house, or you can always ask an agency. In fact, yes, Karawa, remember now. I thought you guys would have asked Stephanie how much do they charge clients.
I
Because
think
on
we
that
wanted
one,
to avoid seeming like
yeah,
money was a big thing.
yeah, because I also don't have any idea how agents charge clients. So I always want to understand their business model. So on that one level, I wouldn't know, but you can search on Google. There are so many website developers out there. The thing is that website development does not only require IT services, as we've been discussing. So who is going to provide you with marketing insights as a brand? Do you have a marketing department who is going to work with the IT company, or you have everything in-house? So I wouldn't know how much that would cost.
Oh, okay, sir. So
Yeah.
So like,
Remember, you also need a website hoster, as we said, as this hosting provider, as we discussed last week. You also need to buy a domain to have that URL. Then you need the designers. Yes, Kia, I'm listening.
so my boyfriend is a web developer. So I just asked him like how much he charges like clients. So he says it
Mhm.
depends whether if it's e-commerce or just a normal site.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you get that level?
yes, sir, I did.
And I think it also depends with the nature of business. There are many startups out there, and there are also many large corporates out there. So who is initiating a website? So I think it also depends with the nature of business. As Kia is saying that if it's e-commerce, the price might differ, and if it's just a sort of a personal blog in form of a website, it can be something else as well.
So he just sent. I'm gonna send it on the group.
Okay, all right. Would appreciate that at least we are getting it from someone who is in the industry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Gia's boyfriend. So,
Shut up.
also have another question.
What are you implying, Lebo?
Nothing. So, I also have
Nothing.
another question. So, sir,
Okay.
what's the difference between customer persona? Is a customer or consumer persona?
Yeah, you always want to confuse yourself, Lebo. So now you want to ask me what's the difference between a customer persona, a consumer persona, and a buyer persona?
Yeah. See, I wanna get the whole the the customer persona and also the buyer persona.
Okay, but you know what persona is, right?
Yes, I know.
What is a persona?
What is a persona?
Yes.
It's
I want
the ideal person that you have for the ideal audience that you have for your company or the message that you're sending out. So now obviously we said that the buyer, right, is the person that only is involved in the purchasing phase, right?
Mhm.
And then now the customer is involved in like all the stages, could be involved in all the stages. Like it could be the person that goes into the store or the person that engages with your brand from like the post,
Mhm.
the pre-purchasing, also the consumption and the post, right? So I wanted to know, like, do they have like, do you design them the same, or you look at the fact that one is only involved in purchasing and the other one is could be involved in all the stages?
Yes, so as we discussed last week, I think we looked at the difference between a customer and what is it? A customer and a consumer. So you can also you can also use the debate on this one. So the buyer persona would be the person who makes the initial decision to buy the product. Then the consumer will be the one who is actually using that product. So you want to focus on the consumer, on the persona of the consumer, or you want to focus on the persona of the buyer.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll go back to the example that we used for babies. So babies use products, right? They use nappies, be it Huggies or Pampers. They are the consumers, but they are not the ones who buy those products. It is their parents. So the parents are the buyers or they are the customers. So now, is your focus going to be on the babies who are the end users, or is it going to be on the buyer who is the parents? So there you can have two different personas, persona of a baby and persona of the mother who is the buyer or the father. Making any sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, thank you. So you had your hand up.
No, sir.
Okay, so that was it about lesson 103, guys. Are there any other questions? Okay, let's have a quick break before we go to lesson 104. So let's meet again in 10 minutes. 22.
I just wanted to ask your opinion on something quickly.
Okay, I'm listening.
So I'm seeing on LinkedIn.
Where?
On LinkedIn, né?
Let me quickly go there.
I don't know if it's still there.
Yes, I'm there.
So if you go to the ShopRite group of companies,
So I'm
if you
just
search,
going to search here.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Stephen liked it.
Now you're stalking everyone.
No, the
Okay, I
moment you
have
told
it.
us who he was, I sent him a connect. I just didn't have a conversation with him because I don't know what to say.
Okay. I am there. So do I need
So I
to
don't know if you
open
see
it?
the green small scooter.
Yes, I can see it.
What
Like
do you
for
think?
babies, for kids.
That's what I'm saying. What do you think about this? Considering that from my experience, like people are irritated by this small scooter and the amount of noise it makes. So it's like, where is this going to
Really?
be? Yeah.
Really? Did you get insights that people are irritated?
Hence, I said from my experience,
Okay.
I'm also looking at the comments after under this where somebody's like, please don't bring it to the stores. Somebody says, no, please, I moved out of a certain complex because of this noise.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Kifilo Totet.
Mm.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, normally brains would get insights from people's comments, what are people saying, stuff like that. And if they see that there's so much negative sentiments from it, why would you then force it on people? So here maybe the issue would be noise pollution. So I don't know.
I wonder if they're gonna sell these or are these going to be allowed in the shops?
I don't
And
know.
how say because it says inspired by its young fans.
Mm.
Checker 6060 gave the iconic ride on a facelift. So now it's like, where did they get that from? Did they put out a survey or something like that?
Mm.
Where did they get the insight from? Is it going to be allowed inside the shops?
But is it a toy or it is going to be the actual, scooter? Because this one looks like a toy.
I think it's a toy. It's for young kids.
Mm.
So hence I'm worried. Imagine you going through checkers and then you just hear on the floor. You know?
Yeah, I do get you.
Mm.
Let's just see how it's going to unfold. Because as if you scroll down, there's Sean there. I don't know if you can see Sean.
So what are you guys doing?
No, I don't know if you know those small scooters that make noise there.
We
Like these small scooters, it's a plastic, and then they make like, and then you have to push them with
Oh
both your feet. Yeah.
yeah.
So on LinkedIn, Checkers, I get the 6060 bikes, ne?
Yeah.
So what Checkers did was apparently because they have young fans,
They just
Checkers,
painted those scooters, eh?
yeah, they just painted them.
Actually, they are there. These scooters are there. You can even find them at game. Let me quickly get this call, guys.
So yeah, Checkers made
Eh,
that small
kunjani
bike
ba?
piano for kids with a
Oh,
6060
Happy.
thing.
what did you search for LinkedIn?
The ShopRite group of companies.
Oh, ShopRite.
Yeah,
Let me see.
bamfonele namanje futhi.